Good morning, everybody. Or indeed, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are in the world. I am just trying to find a random comment picker for Instagram, and then we will begin the live stream imminently. I did find one the other day, and I'm not quite sure what I've done with it, so just bear with me, because I thought I was prepared. And preparing to fail is failing to prepare. There we go. We found it. We found it. So how are we all this very snowy morning from where I am anyway? I believe there's lots of snow all across America. Or, well, the East Coast anyway. Which isn't all across America because America's quite a big place. So that was a really stupid thing to say. Morning, Boy Wonder. Morning, Caroline Tyler. Morning, Lynn Smith. Morning, Urban Media. How are we all? So I am just going to load up this comment picker and I will be with you all for the giveaway imminently. And we are giving away the one-of-a-kind silver Itsy Evo frame from Spider Dynamics. This is a money can't buy prize. So if you haven't entered now, I'd enter really quickly because I'm just bringing it up. So you've got about 10 seconds before it loads up all of the names. It is currently scanning for the sweepstakes. Any second now. Make sure you've got your entry in. Somebody's going to win it. And I am going to insist on this one because we've drawn the Sterling Kit winner about 73 times and the winner's still not contacted us, that you DM me on Instagram within 24 hours if you are picked as the winner. Good luck to those who have entered. Caroline Tyler, thank you very much for that. Boy Wonder FPV says I'm watching on my PC but using my phone to type because it's not letting me type on my PC. And now it's working. There you go. Thanks, Boy Wonder. Now, speaking of not working, this thing isn't working for me. Enter. It says we're getting comments. We are still waiting for those comments. If I do this, I'll do that. It is picking, not a winner, it's just loading the comments. So, Caroline Tyler, how's the snow where you are, by the way? Right. Has it done something? It has done nothing. Oh, maybe because I know why. Hang on a minute. It's because I'm an idiot, as you all well know. Let me... oh, what a... Right, okay, let's try this again. You expect no less from me. It helps if you actually get the Instagram post, doesn't it? When you've got the Instagram post, then you can pull up the names. Right, let's switch back to that scene. There we go. So we've got number of people attending the sweepstakes, 81. Do I need to just make that a little bit? No, I don't know why it's not doing that. I don't care. Right, brilliant. Okay, so we've got 6 people watching. We've got 81 people entered. I need you to drop me a DM on Instagram if you are the winner within 24 hours. If we don't get a answer within 24 hours, then I will pick again tomorrow. Good luck, everybody. Caroline Tyler, how's the dolphin, by the way? It looks really, really good. Was it the dolphin? I think it was a dolphin. I could just be making random words up now. By the way, Caroline Tyler, I don't know if you saw, but on Instagram, I posted some videos of my fixed wing, which I'm going to get out real soon. And I'm going to detail the head tracker that you did for me. So hopefully that'll give you a little bit of traffic. Good morning to Only Drones. Right, I think that is probably going to be everybody that's going to enter the chat this morning. It is early in the UK and it's a random Monday morning and nobody likes Monday mornings, do they? So let's make the draw. Find a winner. Good luck, everybody. Congratulations. The winner is this person. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it, but what I will do is I will take a screenshot and I will announce the winner. They've got 24 hours to contact me via DM on Instagram, and if they do, they will win a one-of-a-kind silver Itsy Evo, and if they don't, I will draw it again tomorrow morning at about this time ish, give or take. I don't know, we don't go by structures here, we just freestyle it. But I hope you all enjoyed that competition. There is going to be more coming in the coming weeks. We've got a big review due out this week of a new kit from a company that you all love and I love, but I can't tell you too much more about it. But believe you me, you are going to love the kit that they've provided. We have got new motors coming out. We've got a new build. We have got a new helicopter, a boat, new RC truck. It's going to be wild. The next few weeks is going to be crazy. Whether my health holds up to the schedule is another story entirely, and whether the weather holds up to it is also another story. But you've all been amazing this morning. Thank you for your time. Yo, nice win, says Only Drones. Yep, it is, like I say, it's a one-off. It is a money cannot buy prize, and the Itsy Evo is, in my opinion, if you are a professional filmmaker in any way, shape or form, the Itsy Evo is a must for you. And if you're somebody that just likes to fly cinematic filming or cinematic flying, again, the Itsy Evo is an absolute must. It is by far and away best in category. And I don't say that lightly because I've flown a lot of drones this year. I've flown a lot of drones last year, should I say. I've flown quite a few this year as well. And I don't say it lightly. The Itsy Evo is without any shadow of a doubt the best in class. So if you do videos professionally, if you make films professionally, or if you're a professional drone pilot, the Itsy Evo is essential to have in your drone bag with you. Yep, you certainly will. Only Drones, like I say, anybody who is a professional or anybody who likes cinematic filming needs to get an Itsy Evo. I don't have an affiliate link with Itsy or with Spider Dynamics, so I don't make a penny from saying all this. I'm saying this genuinely because I believe it. You know, I wouldn't throw such weight behind a product if I didn't genuinely believe the words I was saying. We've got 20 days, and in 20 days we have the DJI O4 released. I may have received a little bit of information about it this morning, but I can't say any more. DJI don't like me, so I'm not going to pretend that I've been sent one, because I called DJI on the Neo bullshit, but there you go. However, I have been given some information this morning which makes it very exciting. So 20 days and we will have an O4, and I will try and get hold of one on day one. And that's probably going to be it for this morning, to be fair. I've just recorded a voiceover for a review, and that's going to be out in the next few days when I get the green light for the embargo. And I'm just randomly talking because I don't necessarily want this stream to end. I love you all. It's amazing. I can't believe that we start 2025 with the weather that we've got, though. I have built this weekend, you may have seen on Instagram, an Avion RC Icon 2.5, which weighs about 30 or 40, I'm going to have to double check, about 30 or 40 grams less than the sub 250 Oasis Fly 25, but has the same thrust and power. So it's going to be a wild time. Thanks, Boy Wonder. Really appreciate that. Yep, you are all amazing, and I would love to stay in chat if the chat was a little bit more lit. If anybody wants to do a Q&A session, drop a question in the comments now, and before I go, I will answer it for you. The snow is beautiful, says Only Drones. I've got to be honest, I am sat in the studio with all the blinds closed, all the heating on, and I'm not going outside. It's too cold. I'll die. I'll shrivel up, and I'll literally die like the Wicked Witch of the West from, what was that film? Mary Poppins? No? I don't know. What's the film with the Wicked Witch of the West? Somebody drop it in the comments down below, quick. Oh, I can't think. What's it called? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm showing my age in both knowing the film and forgetting the film, all in one go. Boy Wonder says, when did you start flying? Well, Boy Wonder, it's a very good question. Initially, I started flying in 2016, and the technology back then was very primitive. So we would... Wizard of Oz, that's it. Thank you. Only Drones. The technology back then was very primitive. We did have some FPV. It wasn't brilliant. The FPV drones were not very reliable. You know, sometimes you'd smoke an ESC by just plugging it in. So it wasn't as much of an enjoyable hobby as it is today. So I did stop for a few years, and I retook it up in December 2020. So we've just had our 4-year anniversary, and I've pretty much, apart from a few little gaps here and there, been at it non-stop since December 2020, and it's something that I will absolutely treasure for the rest of my life. It has helped me in ways that you guys could only imagine, and that's why I like to share the enthusiasm for it with you, and I like to share the love of it with you. Two sticks and a rubber band. Were the drones made of wood? Jesus Christ, guys, how old do you think I am? To be fair, they were made of plastic. I do actually know a guy that has built a wood FPV drone, to be fair. But yeah, back in my day, in fact, when I was a kid, I'll tell you all the story now because it's story time with Squadding Quads. When I were a kid, I had a family member who had a remote control aeroplane, which was at the time gas powered. So I think it was nitro. It would have been back in the 80s. And they flew it around a local park, and it wasn't a big thing back then. It was a real sort of whoa. But obviously the technology was so primitive back then that the range was about 50 meters at absolute best. And as he came back, the signal browned out just over his head, and it went straight into a tree. And this brand new, super expensive, I mean, I can't even begin to tell you what it would cost in today's money, because it was crazy expensive back in the 80s. Just went up in flames, set fire, made a balsa wood, see you later, gone, completely destroyed in one flight. And obviously there's no videos or anything from back then, so he literally has nothing to prove it was such a disaster other than his wallet and his bank account. Caroline Tanner says, I started with RC planes in the early 90s, 27 megahertz. Yes. Now, Caroline Tyler, that's a really good point, actually. 27 megahertz radios and NiCad batteries is what I started with back in the Tamiya days. So I used those in the 80s with the Tamiya Blackfoot RC monster truck. So you had a Nikon battery that would take about 14 hours to charge, and then you trundle around for about 6 minutes at about 4 miles an hour. But it was amazing. It was great stuff. And you know, I dreamt back then, I said, I wish on this controller I could put a screen on it. Because we had, back in those days, Caroline Tyler will probably remember, but we had the RC car days back then. The controllers were the shape of the RC controllers we have for drones and planes these days, rather than the wheel and stick that they are nowadays. And I always used to say at the bottom where all that space was, where we have our screens now, I wish we could have a screen there and it would have a camera on it and we could display where we're going. And I'd managed to hook up something really, again, really primitive back in the day. But I could only ever have dreamed of what we have today when I was a kid. Like, what we have today is what I wish we had when I was a kid. And for that to be realised in my lifetime is wild, because back in the 80s, believe you me, the technology was, well, we had buses with 3 gears. Yeah, that's... Then 35 megahertz when it took over for air. I started in the Dog Whistle Sharma says, I started in the 1970s with a Cox control line plane. Do you know what? Control line planes, actually, I was reading this the other day, they're making some mad retro comeback, aren't they? I know there's quite a few flying clubs that actually have specific control lines. And you can, as far as I'm aware, there are some manufacturers now that are making new ones. So maybe you can realise your dream, Dog Whistle, and grab yourself a new one and make some videos and tag me in them. But I don't think screens were made back then. No, we did. We had, back in the day, now I'm going to show my age now. Back in the day, when I went to F1 at Silverstone, I had a Casio portable TV. I think it took about 8 AA batteries and it lasted about half an hour, but it was actually a portable handheld pocket TV. So I went to Silverstone, watched the F1, and you could see when the cars were on the other side of the track, you could watch it on the TV. It was incredible. It was really good. And it was that gave me the idea, well, I wish there was a way that we could get a signal from a camera on the front of this RC car to this TV. And we did manage to jerry-rig something, but black and white boy wonder. Back in my day, we just had a gramophone, I'll have you know. I saved up for ages for a Cox 49 powered Hurricane control line plane. Lasted only 2 times around the circle. Pocket money. I remember having to save up pocket money to buy parts for my Blackfoot, because even though the Tamiya cars back then probably did trundle around at about 6-7 miles an hour, they wasn't very fast. They were so fragile. So you'd have this big monster truck which looked amazing, but you'd go over like a curb or something and bang, you'd throw a steering arm off and you'd need a new servo. Or eventually we got, I tell you probably remember this actually, Caroline, back in the day, in the very early days of RC cars, when your battery went, your mechanical speed controller would lock in the position that it was in, so you'd have no control over it. So if you was going full throttle and you lost signal, it wouldn't cut to 0, it would just carry on at full throttle. And there's been a few times where I hit a wall because I lost a signal. And then eventually, I think towards the late 80s, early 90s, they made a kit, didn't they, whereby you could still control the steering if the the mechanical speed controller locked to full. So you'd still have a little bit of control over it to roll it over, or to control it if all else went awry. But it was wild days. I wonder, in other words, a pain in the ass. Yeah, it was definitely primitive back in the day. Like I say, I remember in the late 80s, early 90s, my uncle got Sky TV. He was the first one in our family to get Sky TV. And before that, we had 4 TV channels. And you just don't quite realise. I mean, it was I'm going to sound really old now. It was a more simple, more primitive time. But do you know what? Like, it was quite good back then. Like, we could go out quite often in the summer. As a kid, we'd go out with our mates in the school holidays at 9 o'clock in the morning, not return till 9-10 o'clock at night. We'd be out all day on adventures, and nobody would know where we were. Nobody would be worried. Everyone would know that we'd come home safely at night time. And it was just a simpler life, wasn't it, back then? But I do sound really, really old now. Yes, only drones. Bro was telling me about crystals the other day. Yes, I was telling you about the 27 megahertz crystals. What was it? A couple of months ago. And Caroline Tyler will remember just how expensive those crystals were. And I think there was only 8 of them. So you'd have to buy a set of crystals. So you'd have to have the same color crystal for your controller as you had in your RC vehicle. You'd have to make sure that nobody else on the line had the same color. So we'd all have like a flag on the end of our antennas. So if your crystal was 27.1 megahertz, that would be a red one, for instance. And then with that crystal set, you would get a red flag to put on the top of your antenna. So you could walk down the line, see who's flying or driving what, and think, right, well, there's 6 people there, but nobody's got the yellow one. I've got the yellow one, so I can join in. Or you could turn up, you might only have the red one, and everybody had the red one. So you'd have to wait, literally, because if you turned on, you would interfere with them and you wouldn't both be able to drive, fly, or sail together. Well, I could talk about things for hours. I really could. But I just don't know if you guys would be particularly interested in it, or whether or not I'd bore you to death. But again, if you've got any more questions before I end the stream, I'm more than happy to answer them. Yeah, some real Thanos crystal shit going on there. I do need to work out exactly how those things... Well, I mean, I don't need to, really, because we're a long way past that nowadays. What's your favourite FPV simulator, everybody? Crystals, what a pain. Pegboards, yes! Pegboards, oh! Pegboards and flags for your antennas. Having to save up your pocket money to get another crystal just so that you could join in with somebody else at the time. Wild time. And then you'd always have either this rich kid that had every crystal but would refuse to change their crystal because there was an arse. Or you'd have this rich adult again that just wouldn't change their crystal because, no, this is my crystal, this is one yeah, but this is the only one I've got. Oh well, never mind. And it was such... It was quite a gate-kept hobby, and we say these days sometimes people do gatekeep it a little bit too much, but certainly back in the day it was very gate-kept, and I'm sure Caroline Tyner will agree with me on that one. Let's have a look. So pegboards. Pegboards is where you would peg up your crystals and you would know what's available, what you could use, how you could use it, when you could use it. Boy Wonder FPV says also. Also? Does somebody want to phonetically type in the chat how I pronounce that guy's name? Malaku Bay? I really don't want to butcher it, so I'm probably not going to try again. I've got to be honest. Who wants... Hi, Little Wonder FPV. We've got Boy Wonder FPV, we've got Little Wonder FPV. Who wants me to do a FPV podcast and who wants to be a guest? Caroline Tyler, would you like to join in? Since you seem almost as old as I am. You clearly are not as old as me because I am as old as the hills. But it is something that I've been considering doing. Does anybody think that there would be an appetite there for an FPV podcast? Little Wonder FPV, how did you find your beta FPV Air 65 that you received for Christmas? Did it have kangaroo juice in it when you took off? Malaku Bay. Yep, that'll do, mate. That's close enough for me. I have the real issue with like pronouncing words that just look weird. I don't know why. I can read, honestly. I'm not that stupid. Maybe. We'll see. We've got 8 people in the chat. Who wants me to start a FPV podcast? And if anybody does want me to start an FPV podcast, I don't mean like literally right now, just dive into a podcast. But if anybody does think it should be something that I consider, does anybody want to be a guest? If it's on here, yes. Yeah, I mean, what we could do. Boy Wonder FPV would like to be a guest. Now that, see, you could have Boy Wonder FPV, the next generation of FPV pilots, and then you could have me, a really old and decrepit FPV pilot, and it'd be a great contrast to see how we both see the world of FPV differently. So the way that I've run podcasts in the past is I would do them live on YouTube, a little bit like this, and we'd dial in with a guest or three. We'd run the podcast, we'd do it. It wouldn't be edited or anything like that, and then we'd slap it onto Spotify and all of the other podcast providers that are available. So if anybody's interested, obviously we've got Boy Wonder and Only Drones. Who else is in the chat? Caroline Tyler, would you be interested? Dog Whistle, would you be interested? And there was somebody else in the chat earlier, wasn't there, who may not be here. Urban Media and Lynn Smith. Who else would be interested in joining in an FPV podcast? I'd probably do it maybe once every week or once every 2 weeks. We could talk about news and current affairs. We could talk about things that we'd seen in the FPV world. We could even flash up clips on here, because obviously, you know, we've got the ability to do that. I'm not sure how well that would translate over to Spotify, but ultimately it's just a bit of fun, isn't it? You know, I'm not, as I've said from day one, I'm not in this for the money. I'm in this to make a community, to build friends, and to just have fun. For me, it's not about the money. If a company would send me a product to review and said to me, you could either have an affiliate or not, then every time I'm choosing not to have an affiliate. But unfortunately, the majority of them want to make sure that they've covered their costs of sending me that product by seeing how many sales I make from it. And ultimately, that's just the way of the world, isn't it? I'm afraid. You know, I'll always be clear. If a product's good, it's good. And if it's not, it's not. But that's way off on a tangent. But the point being, I don't do this for the money. I do it for the love. I have the passion for FPV. And if you guys want to share in a FPV podcast, then I'm down. Got 7 people in the chat. It has gone a little bit quieter in the chat. If anybody's got any other questions they want to ask or comment about the podcast, please do. I saw someone smash a Neo into a bridge trying to... Right, so bear in mind that the Neo is about ½ an inch wide. How on earth have you... Not you, but how on earth have they smashed a Neo? In fact, send me the clip. Send me the clip and I'll load it up on here. If you can send me that clip, I'll load it up on here. 1 second. No problems, Caroline. No problems at all. I've got a snow day today, so I'll take it while I can. I'm just opening up YouTube. It looks like we're starting the podcast now. I've got to be honest. I'm not quite sure. All right. Only Drone says he's going to send it me now. Is it on YouTube? Only Drones, because I've got YouTube up here. Ta-da!
My friend, final words to his DJI Neo.
Oh. DJI Neo crashes into... Let me just readjust this. There we go. DJI Neo crashes into the ocean after takeoff. I wonder if this is similar to what happened to mine. By the way, DJI are never going to send me an 04 because of how much I shit on the Neo, but I'd rather... Wow. Wow. Yeah, they'll never send me an 04 because of how much I shit on the Neo, but to be honest, I would rather save you guys from making an expensive mistake than... Behind the scenes,
It's hard, drop it like it's hot.
I crashed my Neo. Is it okay? See, this is a problem when it doesn't have sensors on it. Look straight into that tree. You could see it coming a mile off. That's the problem, isn't it? When it doesn't have sensors on it. All right. Only John says he can't find it. Brilliant. Not a problem. Sorry, the angle of the screen may not be optimal because I didn't actually expect to do this today. Oh, I think I found it on the drones. Let me pause this and just... Is it this one? Please do let me know. Oh, it's in the mountains in Wales. Yeah, Caroline Tyler, you're right. The Neo as an FPV drone, actually, in my opinion, flies quite well, you know. It's not, don't get me wrong, it's not an FPV drone, but in FPV mode, I think it flies quite well. The issue arises when you try and do camera drone work with it, or crazily, I had a flyaway on selfie mode, which is wild because obviously selfie mode is supposed to be where it's at its very, very best. But yeah, let's check out this video. So we've got a massive gap. The Neo's tiny.
I flew out under the bridge
He's drifting a bit to the left.
and didn't have too many difficulties, despite my skill level not being 100%.
This is a massive gap.
But I got through to the end. You see me pause out a little bit to get my bearings.
I don't know if you guys can hear the...
Yeah, I think maybe at that point, but definitely after I got all the way through, the drone started bobbing around a bit and not really obeying my
it's
stick
wild to
instructions.
put a Neo under a structure like this, isn't it?
And
Some
that
issues with
worried me a little bit.
not even the issues, but the
So in the
limitations
end, I decided not to fly back through the bridge arches and went out over the river instead and flew back that way. Once I was out from underneath the bridge, I didn't have any problem with control. It's a little windy, but not anywhere near anything that the Neo wouldn't be able to handle.
The drone said it's not that one. As we evidenced by it not crashing. DJI Neo Freeride. No. I do like these videos as well, where people pretend to fly a Neo freestyle and then the overlay a clip of a 5-inch. One thing I will say is, obviously there's the reason why DJI won't ever work with me, 27,000 views, but I stand by it. They need to deal with it. They need to fix it. One thing I will say about the Neo is I smashed it really hard into a fence. And it came off without a scratch. So it is actually quite durable, to be fair. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything overly exciting there. It's a real shame. Well, I was on Facebook. GPS had been scrambled. Didn't hear anything I said. Or they said, you mean? But yeah, the DJI Neo, I think, from what I've heard, the DJI Flip is going to be like a Neo Pro, essentially. Let me switch back in case one person turns up. Yeah, so I've heard it's going to be essentially Neo Pro. I know a lot of people are thinking it's going to be the Mini 5. I don't necessarily believe that's the case. I could be completely wrong, of course. But hey ho. Oh, you couldn't hear me? Oh, well, when the video was playing? That's weird. I better not do that again then. That's a bit of an odd one. Can you hear me now? Oh, you must be able to. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to say me when I said, is it me that you couldn't hear? Don't... oh, volume was too high. Okay, I've got you. Got you. Well, this has been a fun morning. I've enjoyed it. And it's something I'd like to do more of. But the thing is, if you guys think it's a good thing for me to do, I'll do it more. I appreciate at this time on a morning, on a work day, it's probably not the best time to do it. But obviously the difficulty I've got is I've got very loud, very brash children who of an evening are very loud and very brash. So we'll have to try and work something out. But yeah, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. Boy Wonder says he's enjoyed it too. And I don't know what that emoji from Only Drones means. For clarification, I am a boomer. So if you're going to put emojis in the chat, you are going to have to explain them to me like I'm a 5-year-old. Because I am a boomer. If I could review one thing on the channel, what would it be? See, I've got a friend who's got a DJI FPV drone. And I think I can get him to let me borrow it. And I think the test should be how durable is a DJI FPV in a bando. And then he basically just lets me absolutely rag it around a bando. Hands up in the chat who thinks that's a great idea. I mean, I'm gonna instantly say yes. So that's 1-0 to me. In fact, this is not a democracy. This is a dictatorship. So Only Drones, give me your FPV, DJI FPV, and I'm going to take it to a bando. This is not a democracy. This is a dictatorship. The decision has been made. I've still got the Avatar 2 to do a little review on. Do you know what? The 04 in that is really, really brilliant. It is an incremental update. Don't get me wrong. There you go. Boy Wonder votes as well, so that's 2-0. It is an incremental update, but my God, it's good. And I tell you what, certainly from an indoor flying point of view, the definition and detail of it is really, really, really good. You can have it. You realise how dangerous saying things like "you can have it" is to me, don't you? Because like I will just smash it into a wall, not deliberately. Well, no. Have you got DJI Care Refresh on it? Because at least if you've got Care Refresh on it, and I accidentally hit a wall, then it'll only cost the cost of a replacement under the Care Refresh policy. But is there anything else anybody wants me to review on the channel? I am going to review a E-Flite Timber X Night in the coming few weeks once the weather settles down a little bit. To be fair, it would be quite cool to fly it in this weather, but I don't do cold. I will probably die like a shrieking violet. No. Damn. To be fair, I've seen them go on eBay for next to nothing, so if I'm going to smash one up, that's probably going to be the best bet, to be fair. And I have been contacted by a member who has offered to send me an iFlight FX4 Evoke. So it's a bit like the Nazgul Evoke, but the 4-inch version. Now, everybody that's flown this drone has told me how overpowered it is, how crazy it is, how wild it is. So I thought, well, I'll take you up on your offer. So we'll have that on the channel this week, and let's see if it's anywhere near as powerful and as wild as everybody says it is. And with that, I think we are probably going to end the stream because it is, like I say, it is a random Monday morning. Although some people have been snowed in, not everybody has. So the numbers are not massive, but at the end of the day, I don't do this for the numbers. I don't do this for the fame. Yeah, and I certainly don't do it for the money either. I do it for the love and for the passion. So if I can speak to people who are let's try that again, who are passionate and love the hobby as much as I do, then that's all that I care about. Drop any last questions or comments in the description, in the comments box even down below, and I'll answer it before I go. And if you all lean in, if you all just lean in really close, just really close, I'm going to tell you what the embargo drone is that I'm going to release a video of this week. So are you all leaning in really, really close? It's the... But don't tell them that I've told you. Until next time, much love. Peace.